Super Kids Academy. Super Kids Academy. No, we were just talking about Super Kids Academy, childhood show that we used to watch. By the way, this is another episode of Sisterly Love. I am your host, Candace.
And I'm your co-host, Shayna.
And you got that right, baby. Anyway, let's jump right into the segment of our show called Remember When. And this is the segment of the show where I give Shayna a blast from the past. So, Shayna, I just want to run some things by you.
All right.
Just thinking about where I am in my life.
Ooh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I just want to flash back to some shows that I used to watch as a child. You remember I told you already that I used to watch Sally Jesse Raphael as a child?
Red glasses.
Yeah.
Red rimmed glasses.
And that other show, Rachel
Roy?
Rachel Ray? Ricky Lake
Lake.
Show.
Okay.
But I know those were way before my time. I was watching that when I probably should not have. But on to some shows that I really, really used to enjoy. Do you remember when we would watch shows like Zaboomafoo or The Big Comfy Couch?
Yep, I remember that.
What about the young...
Hold on. You're going fast. But
Okay.
I want to talk about them. Because Big Comfy Couch, I used to like that because I used to think she was so flexible. And I would try to do... What was it? It was 10 second tidy, but what was the stretching called?
I don't know. I just know she did it on a rug of a clock
Okay,
rug.
so if y'all don't know what The Big Comfy Couch is, it was based about this lady dressed as a clown, and she had like critters in her couch. When you really think about it,
Dust bunnies.
that was pretty nasty for her to be playing around with dust bunnies. But anyway, she would have adventures and stuff, and there was always one portion of the show where she would do stretches, and it was like around a clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to try to do them on the floor, and I would just
Me
feel
too.
so ashamed because I couldn't get to those stretches, and I was like, is it my spine? I don't understand what the problem is.
Girl, those things were a struggle. I knew then I was not flexible. It just wasn't happening. But even beyond that, the show Zaboomafoo, I used to think that show was cool because you had those two guys. I guess they were brothers. And they had that, what was a sloth, right? It wasn't that animal?
That wasn't a sloth.
Oh, okay. A lemur. That's right.
yes.
He was a lemur. I'm tripping. My bad.
Sloth.
That thing ugly, whatever it is. But I
Raccoon
remember
eyes.
watching that show, and I remember in college, I brought back the word Zaboomafoo. For some reason, I used that word as if it meant foolishness. Look at that. There's a bunch of Zaboomafoo. I used to say that to my roommate.
Did anybody
all the
get what
time.
you were talking about when you
Well,
said
I only
that?
used to say it to like my roommate because she knew what I was talking about. But anyway, shows like that. I remember Teletubbies. Have we talked about this once before?
I don't know, but I feel like you're going to use all your good remember wins by telling all the shows.
Okay, well, I'll just give one more. And it's your favorite. Teletubbies. I used to love Poe. It was Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe. And they used to say one of them was kind of...
Which one of them danced?
All of them danced.
No, there was one that was a really good dancer. I think it was in a purple suit.
Oh, that's Tinky Winky, the one that used to carry the purse. Mhm. I
Let that
digress.
Tinky Winky be great.
And then I remember, for some reason, I want to equate Teletubbies to Power Rangers. In that, didn't they have
I
like
don't
a
know why
headquarters
you would
or
do
something?
that.
No,
there was
because-
a son, a baby.
Yeah, I
face
know,
on the
but they
son.
had a headquarters or something where they used to have food or I don't remember.
I don't recall that part.
mixing
I honestly,
shows.
towards that time is when it was getting right into your age range.
Yeah.
And I was zoning on out because I just couldn't get with the whole Teletubby thing. It wasn't interesting to me. I mean, I knew what it was, but it just wasn't keeping
How
my
dare you.
attention.
How dare
So,
you.
I mean, it was for you.
So
but it wasn't
nasty
for me.
and so rude.
Speaking of that, have you watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion?
Is there another? You talking about the most recent one?
Yeah, the most recent season.
I haven't seen an episode since the reunion where they got
I had
fired.
actually put down Real Housewives for a while because I was just like, it was a mess. But this past season, I kind of like caught a few episodes. And I typically, if I don't watch the whole season, I try to watch the reunion episodes if they're not boring. And it's been very interesting. And so I didn't know if you had been checking it out or
You
whatever.
watched it?
I did watch. It was 4 parts this time. You know how
Oh my
normally they do 3
goodness.
parts? Yeah. There's one more episode this coming
Was it any
Sunday,
good?
which will be already passed by the time you guys listen to it. But
Was it any good? Is Lily on there?
Lily,
What's her name?
not
Neeks.
Carlton Banks.
I mean, I said Lily. I meant Nene. Is Nene
no,
on there?
she wasn't on this season, but I think she might be back next season.
Oh, goodness.
But no, it was like Phaedra, Portia,
Candy.
Candy, and they had like a big issue this whole season, so that's being
gosh.
addressed on the show.
The 3 of them? I
Mhm.
thought they were besties.
Not this season.
They had to create some type of drama.
No, They didn't create the drama. It seems pretty legit, but it's kind of. Girl, you gotta
Spill the tea, honey.
Watch this past week's episode, the third episode.
How? YouTube.
Online. I'm sure you can watch it on Bravo.com or something like that. Now, I'm not condoning watching these things, but I'm just saying if you want to zone out of your world.
You ain't got to lie.
It is sometimes entertaining.
It's okay, y'all, to watch
Anywho, we're going to move right into our main portion of the segment for this week, and we are talking about keeping clean hands. And we're not talking about hand sanitizer
or Pontius
or
Pilot.
Lysol. Oh. Though that could really relate to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about keeping clean hands, we're talking about staying away from the mess and the gossip that can be around you. And sometimes we can get so easily engulfed in mess, especially in the workplace. I feel like that's where it's most prevalent.
Girl.
So I have to, I don't know about y'all, but I have to consistently catch myself or monitor what I say or how I say it because I want to be above the fray. I don't want to be in a part of the gossip, but sometimes it's so hard because it's so juicy, but at the same time,
come on,
you know that if you get involved that you're basically
a part of the fray.
You're a part of the mess, and I try to stay away from that. And I don't know if any of you all listening have that issue.
Don't lie. Y'all know y'all be gossiping.
Because if you really think about it, you spend a lot of time with the people you work with. I mean, 40 hours a day, sometimes even more. And a lot of us see our coworkers more than we see our own spouses or our children. So we can just get really involved in this alternate reality or this reality TV show. I mean, it's real life, but it feels like a show because there's so much that happens. So I want to talk to Candace
Ministry
and hear.
Come on.
You know, what do you have on that?
Girl, where do I begin? When Shannon told me that this was the topic we would be speaking on, I immediately got a check inside and said, you will be ministered to today. So I'm ready to receive the Rhema, not a logos. No, because that's something I've been dealing with recently. Like, I'm not a gossiper. And actually, this is a conversation I've had a few times with my good friend Brittany, who's like my accountability partner. But I'm the type where I don't gossip. I don't talk about others. I simply observe you. I see what you're like, and I fall back based on what I see.
What did Maya Angelou say?
When someone reveals themselves to you, believe them.
Yep.
And so, when people have revealed themselves to me, I believe them. And I step back. But no, I'm the type where I don't gossip, but I entertain the gossip because I just like to listen. You know, people. I know everything. I'm not gonna tell anybody.
I love the tea, but I won't spill it.
That's right. That's it.
Pour it in my butt. Pour it in my cup. What you got, sugar, honey?
Bring it.
Mint.
Bring it. No, but
all
some
the
real stuff. Like for real. Like people. They talk about things in my presence, and now I'm kind of feeling like, okay, does that say something about my character where people feel comfortable enough to say things about other people in my presence? And they do that because they know that I won't say anything, and I never do because it really ain't nothing to talk about.
Right.
But
it's not,
but it's like, well, what does that look like for me when I'm condoning those conversations? Instead, I have to remember that I'm supposed to be like a light for them, a ministry to them, but they won't know that unless I stopped indulging in those conversations. Now, I will say this. When there was a time that I was really, really convicted by it, I made a conscious effort to remove myself. For example, one day, it's always during our planning period or always after school when we have our conversation.
Weekly mess session.
Whatever. Data. Anyway, so I was eating my lunch and they were beginning to talk, and one of my coworkers was about to say something, and soon as she said it, I just got up because I knew where the conversation was going. I got up, I grabbed my food, and I went back to my classroom and I closed the door. And I just was like, they probably think that I'm being, acting funny. Antisocial. And one of my other coworkers did actually come to my room after the fact and was like, you acting funny now? She was being funny with it. But at the same time, I told her that I had some work to do or whatever, which I really did. But at the same time, I was like, I had to find a way to remove myself from the situation. So I know all too well about being in the midst of mess. Now, I've never, ever in my life, since I was in school or even as an adult now, have I ever been involved with drama, and I thank God for that. People, it just doesn't come my way, but I do know the
You're
tea.
blessed.
I do know what's going on.
Sometimes mess just tries to find you. Just be a part of you. Get thee behind me.
Satan! Shoot. But what have you experienced as far as gossip in the workplace?
Oh, I've experienced everything. It's so much mess. When I have caught myself being a part of something that I shouldn't be, I have tried to make more of a conscientious effort to go back to the person I was talking to and either apologize. Like, that's what I've done lately, because I remember when our pastor was talking about apologizing when you've done something wrong or if you've been a part of something that you shouldn't be a part of. And if I get a check in my spirit, I try to go back to those people and say, hey, I apologize. I shouldn't have even talked about that, or I shouldn't have condoned it. But most of the times when I go back, they be like, girl, get away from me.
Exactly. Isn't that funny?
Like, they just be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing to them. But
That's right.
That makes me feel a little bit better that they are not digging deep into it. But at the same time, I feel better about myself going back and correcting those things. And I try. And even lately, it's been just something I have to watch because it can just be hard sometimes, honestly. Like, even if I'm not even talking about somebody, but just giving my 2 cents or saying a funny comment. I don't mean anything by it,
right?
But just being a part of it, it can come off as if I'm condoning what they're saying.
And that is the issue, because just because they don't make a big deal out of it does not mean that it should not be a big deal to you, because we know, right from wrong. We know that even though what they said was really funny, or I could throw my 2 cents in and make a joke out of it too, it's really not appropriate at the end of the day. Because if it's not, I've heard someone say this before, if it doesn't bring glory to God, or if it's not uplifting or positive, then it probably shouldn't be said at all. And even if you're not the one that's saying it, you're listening to it. Aren't you just as guilty by association?
Yeah. So, I'm really here to just talk to you about it too. Like, what do you do to keep your hands clean?
Well, just like when I gave the example before, when I know that someone's about to gossip or somebody has made a comment that is not necessarily positive, I leave the conversation. And I've actually done it.
Just walk away?
I literally just walk away.
So how do you come off as not, funny?
Well, for that one particular example, I had my lunch. I just closed my box and I got up and left. I went to my room. Like, I didn't make it like a storm out thing, like where I was bringing attention to myself. I kind of just eased myself out of the conversation. The same thing, I had a group of coworkers standing and talking one day, and I knew they were gossiping. And then one of them asked for my input or asked me, girl, did you hear this? And I heard it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. And then I just kept moving. You just walk away. Literally, it's really not hard, y'all, to be honest. And you don't have to do it in such a way where it brings attention to yourself. It could be subtle, but just get away. That way you can never be guilty of being a part of that, whatever the case may be.
One thing that I have done is try to find a silver lining in it. Like, if somebody's talking to me about something that somebody did, I try to look at it from a different angle with maybe they meant this, or maybe they didn't realize it came off like this, or I don't know. That sounds crazy. Are you sure? Like,
defending that person?
I'm not defending them, because they could very well be doing, they could be very well doing the thing that person's talking about, but I try to just give an alternate. And then if somebody's saying, no, this is what they actually did, I'm like, well, dang, that's crazy. Like, I try not to.
Oh, okay.
I try not to be like, hey, yeah, girl, do you know? Now, if I do have a story, I do share it. I don't feel like that's mess, and that's fact. Like, no, like, not a story like gossip, but if something has happened to me, I'm like, well, I wonder, because, this happened to me one time, and then I'll try to see or whatever. But I basically just try not to just harp on it and talk about somebody. And I'll also be like, well, if I have something that's going on, I'll say, well, I wanted to talk to you because I want to know, am I tripping? Or because sometimes we can overthink things, especially when it's something mess that happens to us or some drama that happens to us. To just get a second opinion from somebody that isn't crazy or is a messy person in the office, that tends to help too. If you can find like one even semi-positive person around, so that you don't get engaged with a lot of drama. Because I have experienced mess, whether it be around me or someone trying to provoke something with me. And I have learned to find positive people to be around and talk to, get their opinion. And I try to separate myself and not engage. And I think that's the hardest part is do not engage, because especially when the mess is coming at you, when someone's trying to start something with you. I know myself. I don't believe anybody should disrespect me, and you will not talk crazy to me. So sometimes I have a thin line between
love and hate. Just kidding.
I have a thin line between when to react and when to just let it go. And I have this thing about not feeling like a punk. Like, ain't nobody gonna treat me like no punk. You ain't gonna talk to me like I'm crazy. So sometimes I'll react. And it won't be vicious, but I'm just gonna let you know that you won't treat or talk to me the way that you're trying to, because you're trying me. But, I try to kind of pace myself and be like, just breathe, or walk away, or say this one thing and leave it be. And just walk away, because some people want to get a rise out of you. They enjoy seeing you get flustered.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anybody to feel like they have power over me, because he who angers you controls you. So I never want somebody to feel like they can just push my buttons and they know how to get me. You'll never get me. And I just try to go put in my headphones and listen to a worship song or a praise song. I may even bust out singing a hymn in my head just so I can get those negative thoughts out of my head.
Jesus is the answer.
I'll take a walk or breathe, or sometimes I'll just call my husband, like, listen, man. No, I don't call him man.
I know.
I hate that word. I just call him and he'll give me a positive conversation. So that's when mess is drawn at you, but also keeping clean hands when somebody's gossiping is just, like you said, separating yourself. And you find that it's beneficial, because I don't ever want anybody to come back and say, well, Shayna said this. That's how I know this is true. Or, oh, you were right there when this blah, 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 blah. No.
I will never.
If you need to vent, I'm a person. You can vent.
That's right, right.
But I want to make sure that when I speak back to you, that I speak positivity. And that's something I'm still working on. I'm not a negative person, but sometimes, we're human. We're not perfect. And if we're having a bad day or somebody tried us, then, it can happen. But I just try to think about keeping clean hands.
Dear daughters, it is important to remember you must be beyond reproach. The Bible calls you to be strikingly different. I remember a message that our pastor's wife ministered one time, talking about being strikingly different. Do you, you're crazy. Do you look different than the world? And that's the question that I sometimes ask myself, especially as it relates to being involved in conversation that's not necessarily uplifting about someone. Are you beyond reproach? And one thing I can say is nobody can ever say that. I will never put someone else's name in my mouth and have a negative comment to add to it. Now, I may say a fact about that person where I'm saying, yeah, I've noticed that such and such is such, but I'll never just say, something bad about that person. And two, there's another thing that there's a phrase, a statement, the title of a poem that I think of often. Sometimes when I find myself in this situation, I don't know, if you're familiar with P4CM, right? Passion for Christ movement, the poetry movement. There is a poem that was played for us when I was in FCA in college. It was called, Does Anybody Even Know That You're a Christian? And that just like, bling, 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 that just goes off in my head, because oftentimes when I leave those conversations, it's like, do they even know that you're a Christian, Candace? Like, do they see Jesus in you based on you being a part of those conversations? Or do they just know that you're a good person that they can talk to? What is the feedback that you're giving them? Are you showing them Christ, or are you just entertaining the world? Ooh, come on, Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know.
You had me, then you lost me.
No, but seriously, does anybody even know that you're a Christian? I ain't trying to make this super holy, but what I'm saying is,
all we need is some water.
Look, what's in me?
All we need is the holy water.
What's in me is going to come out. So no,
and and you're not saying that you're supposed to just sit there and be spouting scripture,
right? Yeah, no, nobody wants to hear
your actions and your lifestyle. Are you being a reflection or representation? Because especially in those moments when somebody tries you, how are you going to react? Because if everybody knows that you are a Christian, supposed to be saved, sanctified, and all these things, and you're quick to turn up on somebody.
Right. Turn up for a check.
Well, so it's just, you got to be conscientious of all these things.
What are you condoning?
But I would love to know what you guys do to keep your hands clean. Do you do the whole Family Matters 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3? What the heck is bothering me?
I forgot about that.
And I think it's something that we all struggle with, especially with, like, mess is something that everybody wants to be a part of for some reason. Like, mess is what makes shows keep coming on and keep going. Mess is what people live. I know people that live for mess. They love it when something's happening because they get to just share and talk about it. Like, their eyes light up when those things happen.
I've seen that.
And I just don't want to be a part of that. That's not my end game. All I want to do is collect my check, do things with excellence, go home and see my man, and eat my food. That's all I want to do, and love the Lord. Not in that order,
right,
guys.
That was last.
You knew what I meant. Anyway, so I just try to stay above the fray and keep clean hands.
Amen. Make sure. Now, I'm going to take this literally. Keeping clean hands real quick. Just for a moment, sidebar.
Pastor, please don't preach.
How many of you know that you got some nasty coworkers in this world?
Oh my gosh.
Let me speak on it just for a second. First of all, be mindful of those potlucks. Can't trust.
What? Did we talk about these?
I think we did, maybe once upon a time.
I have let go of potlucks, and somebody tried to look at me crazy about that for work. But listen, when you know what somebody's... I'm going to let you finish.
Thank you. This is something that I want all women especially to pay attention to. When you come out of that restroom stall and one of your coworkers comes out of that stall and they don't wash their hands. Now listen, if they put some water on their hands, that is not washing your hands. There must be soap involved and continuous rubbing and lathering of the hands for proper cleaning. Okay? And then make sure they don't touch the knob with their bare hands. Dry your hands with paper towels. Touch the knob. You just watch those kind of things. Keep clean hands, people, to keep a clean and safe environment.
You really went literal.
That was all for free. Yes, because I'm tired of seeing women, especially women. I just think that is awful for you to, how dare you walk out of the restroom after what you have done and you don't wash your hands. Oh, can I add something else about restroom, y'all? I went to the Mexican restaurant last night, y'all. Oh, I saw the worst, the nastiest thing. So I came, well, first of all, it was a tiny, tight
This
restroom.
is going so left, but I'm listening.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It was so tight, and I went in this stall after this lady, and when she came out, she was like, you might not want to go in there. I was like, uh-oh, did you just tear it up?
She was honest like that?
Yeah, well, then she was like, no, she was like, it doesn't stink in there, but it's nasty in there. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went in. I said, thank you, Jesus. It doesn't stink. But what I saw on the floor. Now, she did the best she could. I mean, you know.
How do you know it was her?
No, it wasn't her.
Okay.
I know it wasn't her because she was honest and said it's nasty in there. I'm afraid to air it out, what I saw.
Let's just hear it. I'll edit it out.
I'll just put it this way. There was some jam on the floor.
Done.
Jam.
We're not doing this about jam again.
I'm just telling you. As I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it like that.
I apologize for those that are listening to this while you were eating lunch.
Jam, baby.
Okay. It is not my intention.
I ain't talking about syrup. There was jam.
All right, Candace.
Okay.
All right.
And when I finally saw it, I said, oh my goodness, girl, you right. This bathroom is nasty. So when I came out, there was another lady going in behind me, and I had to warn her too. And she didn't see it at first either. But then she was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, girl, I see what you're talking about now. I said, I need to find somebody to let them know. And I left. And I said, I should have known better not to use it in this Mexican restaurant.
So you didn't even eat there?
Yeah, I ate there.
Oh, okay.
But I won't use the restroom again, ever.
I try to use the restroom before I go to restaurants because I just don't want to see that and then it ruin my meal. But if I can't help it, because especially now my bladder with this baby on it, I try to look above the toilet and I just squat.
Focus on what you're supposed to.
I squat. I make sure it's where it needs to be aimed. I wipe.
Keep moving.
Turn around, hit my foot on that thing to flush, and I'll walk out. I'm not.
Wait, you forgot to wash your hands.
Walk out the stall.
Okay,
child.
you got to clarify now. We just talked about washing
I'm not
hands.
nasty. As much as y'all know me.
Going back to the topic at hand.
No, the topic is done. You went left. We're going to
Keeping
move on.
clean hands.
If you guys love what you all are hearing on the show, you can follow us on Twitter at Sisterly Love Pod, or on Facebook, Sisterly Love Podcast. We have a bevy of things for you to look into and check out. Whether it is you want to subscribe to our podcast, which you can do on iTunes, Google Play, Libsyn, or you can go on my website, www.shaynasonline.com/sisterlylove, and that's Shayna, Shaina. You can listen to all of our past episodes, and you can leave comments about things that we've talked about and what you loved. Feel free to share the episodes with anyone on your timeline and reach out to us and let us know what you're feeling and what you're not feeling and what you would love for to hear us talk about on the show.
So, Shayna, tell us how we can write a review.
I'm glad you asked. If you want to leave a review on iTunes, you simply go into your podcast app if you have an iPhone, type in Sisterly Love in the search bar with the magnifying glass, and you can tap on our podcast image or where it says review. And as long as you're logged in to your Apple ID information, you can type a review, leaving 5 stars, submit, and keep a listening just like you have been now.
And now, moving on to the next segment of our show called Can You Guess It?
Can you guess it? Can you guess it? Can you guess it? Can you guess it?
This is the part of the show where I present Shayna with some form of dialogue, whether it be in word or song, and she has 3 attempts to guess what it is or where it came from. Shayna, are you ready? Okay.
Yes.
So this time I'm going to do a song again. I like doing
Are you
songs.
humming?
Yes, I am humming. I'm not going to sing. I'm going to hum. So good luck.
I think I
You
like
ready?
it better when you sing.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah. You sure you don't want to sing this?
No, because
Okay.
you'll get it immediately.
So easy, make it better. Second time around. Step by step. I'm on it, man. I know the
I'm on it,
songs.
girl. This is the first time I had a girl who looks at me on fire. Really trying to get to know you better, girl.
All right.
You ain't gotta
Keep
act
Chris
like
Brown in
you're
your
shy.
prayers.
We gonna do something.
Did you have any announcements or anything?
Yes, I do have one final announcement. If you live in the Jackson metro area and you're looking for a way to enrich your community, please feel free to get involved with our community service cleanup day that we have at our adopted park, Shepherd Brothers Park. This month, it'll take place on Saturday, May 27th, beginning at 9:30 a.m. We're looking for as many volunteers as possible to really get some handiwork and groundwork done on the premises. We look forward to hearing or seeing you there. Don't meet us there, beat us there. Find out more about us on our Facebook page at Jackson's Prime. We're Prime Incorporated. So like us, and keep up with us so you know what's going on.
Also, I wanted to bring back, I mentioned this like months ago and then I don't know, I got distracted or something, but if you are an aspiring singer and songwriter and you would like to have your song showcased on our show, whether we play it in between segments, whatever, I want you to reach out to me. You can reach out to us on our Twitter or our Facebook, or you can send me an email, sisterlylovepodcast@gmail.com, and you can send me a SoundCloud link, whatever, if you want me to check it out. And we can go from there. But I would love to just give back because I love music so much. I would love for all of our women to have an opportunity to have their stuff played. Also, make sure you're following me on Instagram, Shayna's Online.
Not vain at all.
I'm not. I'm actually posting a few pregnancy videos during this duration, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to try to do some music, singing videos, whatnot. But just make sure you're following and you're sharing everything you're hearing.
Be blessed now.
Bye, guys.
When you've been blessed.